clients are calling up right now, or maybe over the last 6 or 8 weeks, and they're saying, hey, what's going on in the stock market? And what's happening? I'll ask Wes just to start off with. And, we're trying to be careful about investment advice in these sorts of forums, and we're not going to do that. But in terms of what's going through your head, in terms of what are you telling them, and how do you counsel them?
Well, in terms of what's going on with the market, the way I look at it is, if you think of the market as a leading indicator for what's happening, and you realize what's happened as a result of the crisis in terms of so many companies and their earnings potentially being squashed down to almost nothing, you're seeing that the market takes that into account as sort of an earnings forecaster of future earnings, and it's saying, woo, prices are going to drop as a result. So all of a sudden we see the prices on all the stocks that we own and the funds that we own come down precipitously. And so in terms of trying to counsel my clients on what to do during this time, and I think, Ben, it speaks to what you were saying a minute ago about looking at prior crises, is, okay, can you do some rebalancing? I think that's a very important concept to consider at a time like this, because obviously your stock market exposure is down, your bond market exposure may be up. Rebalancing back to what your targets are can be very useful in a time like this. The other point that I would make would be remembering to stay long-term in terms of your thinking, and remember to be disciplined. It's very easy to capitulate in times like these and to think the world's going to end and the headlines are really scary. So I think in terms of trying to counsel our clients to be disciplined, to rebalance when that's appropriate, and to think towards the long term are three very important points to consider at times like these.
And it's in a way even more emotional, right? Because, hey, people are even more concerned of their own personal health, is not only their own money, but there kind of comes this thing about, well, hey, I'm concerned about my own mortality right now, or my loved one's mortality, or people around me getting sick, and they're also seeing a double impact with their finances, and seeing, so it kind of heightens the level of fear and uncertainty that's happening in the world around them when they're seeing multiple fronts impacting them, right?
No question. And I think that's unique to this crisis compared, if we look back, for example, to 2008 and the financial crisis. You really felt that more just on the financial side and in your pocketbook or your wallet, whereas this has a completely separate emotional piece to it that I think we'll get into later with some of the other questions you have. But absolutely. And I think that makes it more difficult, quite frankly, to manage through, because that your heightened anxiety, and we all know that when you're in a heightened state of anxiety, your thinking and your behaviors can change, and it can force you into making decisions that you might not otherwise. And so that's a key piece to this whole thing, is keeping a level head when times are uncertain.
Yeah, I like that, because again, it's the emotional aspect of this is something that we're trying to contain for our clients, right? So Chris, when you've kind of had someone that's coming to you and they're in some sort of emotional state, and they're asking that framework of a question, how have you responded to them?
Well, as Wes brought up, and you brought up, this is a once in a lifetime, hopefully only once in a lifetime event that we're going through. The new normal is different. We're all at home, right? You're not able to be communicating with your coworkers as easily as you did before, when you were all going through the crisis in 08 and 09. And I think one of the things that most of my conversations have been centered around is risk in the portfolio. And it has given people a good or better understanding of what is the proper risk tolerance that a portfolio should have. Is your use of your money 20 years out? Is the use of your money 10 years out? Is the use of your money potentially only 5 years out? Well, each of those time frames would require different risk tolerance, and it's been a healthy exercise to go through with clients and discuss that, and understand that to earn proper returns over a long time, there's going to be ups and downs, and it is a very powerful tool to see that The downs and ups can, on a long-term basis, eventually resort to positive returns, but there's going to be downs. So those have been the conversations we've been having I've been having with my clients.
Great. And I know again from the risk tolerance side too is sometimes people don't even they don't they know we've gone through a lot of these conversations over the years, right? And figuring out what the risk tolerances are, but sometimes they just assume when the market's going down that they've lost as much, right? And usually when people are entering retirement or even within, they're probably not fully allocated to stocks like someone younger in their career would be, but they assume that they had all the loss. So it seems like sometimes the biggest thing to get out of the way in these conversations is how bad is it, right? How much am I down, or how bad is it relative to what else is going on in the stock market? So Abby, I'll kind of turn it to you, right? Those have been kind of our conversations. Is even right out the gate is just get the news out of the way. Where am I? How is it impacting our plan? And what have you kind of been doing in terms of your conversations there?
So to your point, yes, getting the news out is really important. And I have found that people just want reassurance, or a lot of the people that I've talked to, they're really just calling to check in, say hi, see our view of what's happening, and not necessarily even make any changes. But I think they really like hearing from us in times like this. So I've gotten a lot of good feedback about the newsletters that we've sent out. They find those really reassuring. And not that they say anything different than maybe, the news or anything, but they like hearing it personalized from us. So those are the conversations that I've really been having. And to your point, Wes, about emotional coaching, it's been a lot of that. So everyone is dealing with emotions right now. Everybody is edgy and not really sure where things are going in the future. And so just making sure that they know that we're taking care of their money stuff so they can focus on their health and what they need to do on a day-to-day basis.
That's a very good point. I like that. A lot of what people are trying to get out of us is confidence, right? They just lose self-esteem in these times, and they're looking to us to provide that. And it's a process and it's a framework, and it's not just, well, we just decided today to do something that you didn't expect. That we have all these systems and structures in place that have been helping out.